Well, according to some, the plane was also made before the Wright brothers came. And they say it was made in the Vedic ages.
They're not very wrong. Conceptually it was made. But
राइट ब्रदर्स की ऐतिहासिक उड़ान से 8 साल पहले एक हिंदुस्तानी ने उड़ाया था प्लेन। 1895 में शिवकर तलपटे ने अपनी पत्नी के साथ विमान का डिजाइन तैयार किया था और फिर एक दिन हजारों लोगों के बीच तलपटे के विमान ने उड़ान भरी। सबसे दिलचस्प बात यह है कि आज से 120 साल पहले उस विमान को रिमोट कंट्रोल से उड़ाया गया था, यानी उस विमान में तलपटे खुद सवार नहीं थे। आप इसे आधुनिक इतिहास का पहला ड्रोन भी कह सकते हैं। तलपटे को ये विमान बनाने का आइडिया महर्षि भारद्वाज के विमान शास्त्र से आया था।
Maharishi Bharadwaj says, after studying those 6 sages and experimenting with the aeroplanes and giving a thought to it, I am. Mind you the word. He's saying, I am. He doesn't say writing. He says, I am telling you about the aeroplane. And this is…
you cannot deny Indian mind has thought about things that nobody had thought about in those times. There is no question about that.
Hello friends, this is Jerry Thomas from Sakshi Apologetics Network. Almost 60 years ago, there was a very interesting hypothesis. That hypothesis was that there were ancient astronauts who helped in establishing the ancient civilizations. You could Google it and see books such as Chariots of the God, Technology of the Gods, The Incredible Science of the Ancients, and several other such books. The crux of this hypothesis was that the ancient civilization had access to a much more advanced science either through aliens or they have learned it from the aliens, and they even had the aeroplanes. Now these kind of books looked at cultures across the globe and then they proposed this hypothesis. But this hypothesis is now a discredited hypothesis in the academia. However, we are going to look at the topic, are there aircrafts in the Vedas? Now you must be wondering, if it is already a discredited hypothesis, why are we going to spend time on this? The reason is this: our central government, the BJP-led government, promotes the pseudoscience and claims that there was a much advanced science in the Vedic age. In fact, they have established a portal. The government of India has established a portal called Vedic Heritage Portal. You can see it, which the intent is the Vedas are the source of integral wisdom and science, not the word science. This is under the Ministry of Culture, under the central government, and this explicitly says that the Vedas contain science. Now, if the claim was that the ancient Indian civilization, which had the Dravidian civilization, then the Aryan civilization, those civilizations had scientific knowledge to some extent, all of us would certainly agree. Like every other ancient civilizations, whether it is the Chinese, the Egyptian, the Babylonian, even the Indian ancient civilization had its own scientific knowledge. Not in the sense of the modern science, but they know how to do some technological know-hows, they know certain things about the nature. If this was the claim of the central government, we would not have been spending time on this. However, this is not what the central government claims. If you go to the Vedic Heritage Portal, under the tab Present Context, and if you come to the science, if you click on the science, and if you go to read through it, you will see they are making astonishing claims. Let me read one of the sentences. Most of the modern discoveries have been referred in the Vedas. And these are not mere literary concepts, but proofs are available for their existence. Most of the modern discoveries, look at the claim, are available in the Vedas. And there are proofs for their existence. Now, as I said, if the central government had claimed that the ancients knew many of the scientific, or they had their own scientific knowledge, we would have agreed. In fact, we will all agree that there are certain things of the ancients which are marvelous. For example, if you go to Egypt and see the pyramids, they are marvelous. However, the scientific knowledge that we have is incomparably superior to what the Egyptians had. As much as the pyramids are marvelous, our modern buildings are much more precise and much more magnificent. So if the Indian government was claiming in a similar way, we would not have disagreed. But as I said, they are claiming that the modern knowledge, most of the modern discoveries are mentioned in the Vedas. Now this calls for an examination. And our question is, can you give us an example? Of course, they have given some examples, and I'm going to read and examine one of those examples. In the same website, Vedic Heritage, under the central government, it says spacecrafts are referred as Pushpaka Vimanas in the literature, and surprisingly, their mode of take exactly resembles the modern aircraft. So not only the Vedas have most of the discoveries, even the technological know-how of how to make a spacecraft is mentioned in the Vedic literature. Government is spending our money to propagate this kind of pseudoscience. So it is our responsibility as an Indian citizen and also as a Christian to examine and verify whether this is right or wrong. So let us do that. We will examine this claim under the 6 subsections. We will first examine one of the most known claims, that Pushpaka Vimana in the Valmiki Ramayana, whether that qualifies to be a modern technology. We will examine Swami Dayananda Saraswati's Vedic interpretation, where he had mentioned that these portions of the Vedas speaks about the aircrafts. We will examine those portions. Now these two, the Valmiki Ramayana and the Vedic interpretation of Swami Dayananda Saraswati, are not explicitly technological in their statement, but nevertheless we will examine. And then we will also examine Shivagar Talpade and Arya Samajit, who attempted to fly in 1895, which is almost 8 years before the Wright brothers, and many of our ministers, many of our channels claim that he should be called as the first man to fly, or first the one to invent an aeroplane. So we will examine that claim as well, because this is connected not just as an attempt of an Indian, it is also connected to the claim of the Vedic knowledge. And then we will examine the most popular of these claims, that is a Vaimanika Shastra by Maharishi Bharadwaj, that there is a book written by or composed and taught orally by Maharishi Bharadwaj, which was committed into writing only in the last century. That is a different matter. We will examine it when we come to that. And then we will also examine Sadhguru's claim that probably they did not have proofs, or we do not have proofs of the having say aeroplanes in the ancient times, but the concept was there, and the Indians definitely thought unlike any other ancient culture. We will examine it, and finally we will conclude by demonstrating the glory of the Holy Bible in contrast to the Hindu scriptures, even in matters such as this. So let us begin by examining the Pushpaka Vimana of Valmiki Ramayana. As I said, Pushpaka Vimana of Valmiki Ramayana is not at all a scientific achievement. It is just a mythology. Now, our Hindu friends might object to it. But let us read the Valmiki Ramayana itself. Valmiki Ramayana, Arya Kanda, that is the third Kanda, Sarga 49, slogan number 19. It says, it speaks about the chariot, the Pushpaka Vimana. There arrived the golden chariot of Ravana, elusive and wonderful, harnessed with donkeys and braying like donkeys. So this Pushpaka Vimana was drawn by donkeys, mysterious donkeys. Now you call that a scientific discovery? You can call that as an occultic power, or you can call it as a supernatural power, but definitely that is not scientific. Scientific has to be a natural one. That is how science is. That is what we speak about when we speak about the scientific technological know-how. We are speaking about the natural causes. Now a flying donkey is not a scientific achievement. It is, as Valmiki himself, if Valmiki is the author or the composer of Valmiki Ramayana, the author himself says this is not a technological know-how, but this was achieved with the mysterious powers. Again, let us read Valmiki Ramayana, Sundarakanda, that is the fifth Kanda, Sarga 8, slogan number 9. In slogan number 9, very clearly it says that this Pushpaka Vimana was manufactured, or to use the scientific term, manufactured, it was manufactured through spiritual efforts, designed through the concentration. The Pushpaka Vimana was designed by the dint of divine efforts and prose of Kubera. So it was a tapas, it was meditation, it was not a scientific know-how. So this rules out Pushpaka Vimana from a scientific, as a scientific advancement or a scientific achievement. In fact, if you continue to read Valmiki Ramayana, Sundarakanda, that is a fifth Kanda, Sarga 8, slogan number 6, we read slogan number 5 earlier, it says, Pushpaka Vimana was borne by the multitude of Buddhas. This is a scene when Hanuman goes to Lanka and he sees the Pushpaka Vimana and he is describing about it. This was borne by the Buddhas. So driven by the driven by the donkeys, borne by the Buddhas, demons, Rakshasas, and then manufactured through the meditation and tapas. Definitely this doesn't come under the science at all. This can go under the occult, this can go under the fables, or this can go under even supernatural, but this cannot come under the science at all. This is not a scientific. So Pushpaka Vimana in Valmiki Ramayana or in any other epics, the other epics wherever it is similar things are mentioned, or wherever Idihas, wherever it is that similar things are mentioned, all of them are like this. So we don't need to look at it. We looked at the Pushpaka Vimana which is mentioned in the Valmiki Ramayana as an example. In this we see that it is not at all a scientific achievement. So now let us look at Swami Dayananda Saraswati's Vedic interpretation.
Now about the ancient aviation. The references of ancient aviations are in Rigveda. It is presented to you on the screen, the particular Karika. In that I will draw your attention to a word, Samudriya. It is very rightly described, the atmosphere as Samudriya. Even today's meteorology says that we are at the bottom of the loose molecules of gases which are like ocean above us.
We know one of the followers of Swami Dayananda Saraswati, Agnivir. So if you go to that Agnivir website, Agnivir is a website name, there is a specific article called Science in Vedas. Now this was written by Sanjeev Nivar. This guy claims to be an IIT guy, and he thinks that he is a very great intellectual. So he is writing about it, and he says science of building ships and airplanes. He is quoting from Swami Dayananda Saraswati. Swami Dayananda has detailed mantras regarding these in the Vedic commentary and introduction to Vedas. So in 1876, the scientist at IISc, that is the Indian Institute of Science, concluded that the mechanism of airplane as suggested by Dayananda is feasible. So not only Swami Dayananda commented upon it in his commentary, but scientists have validated that it is feasible. The first manned plane was built 20 years after the Swami Dayananda. So the first manned plane was built 20 years after Swami Dayananda. So look at the argument that he is bringing. See, he is saying that, see, this before Wright brothers, we give them the credit of flying the first manned flight successfully. So before them, 20 years before them, before they flew, Swami Dayananda was dead. So how could Swami Dayananda write about this if it is not there in the Vedas? So that it seems to be the argument. And then it goes on to say these verses are very difficult to translate in English yet, but readers are advised to review Introduction to Vedas by Swami Dayananda or interpretation of the following mantras, and he has given the mantras. So let us look at the one of the mantra that he has given. That is the Rig Veda, Mandala 1, hymn number 116, 3-5. So Swami Dayananda Saraswati goes with a very fanciful interpretation of the Vedas, and then he says there are three kinds of cars. The ship should be provided with the means of comfort. So he goes on to, you can read it in the screen, or you can read it in the website as well. This is available freely in the internet. And Swami Dayananda says, such cars, so this is where the aircraft comes, such cars when moved properly yoked, when moved by the properly yoked Ashwins, so he is now interpreting Ashwins. Ashwins is fire, water or electricity and wind, bring success to undertakings. So there we are. Now this is Swami Dayananda Saraswati's commentary on Rig Veda. Let us take any other English or regional language Vedas translated by Hindus or translated by foreigners or anybody for that matter. Any accepted mainstream scholar who has translated this. So I am going to read, you can read it in your own languages. I am going to read it in my mother tongue, that is the Malayalam. Rig Veda, Mandala 1, hymn number 116, translated by Dr. R. Leela Devi. So R. Leela Devi says that this is chariots of Ashwins. Chariots of Ashwins driven, as you would see later, driven by the horses. So this is the regular kind of chariots of what we read it in Valmiki Ramayana. These are similar chariots. So these kinds of chariots are available were there in all the ancient cultures. That is how even the ancient astronaut hypothesis came into existence. Now if you would read it in say English, you can go and read it in Ralph T.H. Griffith translation. There also you would see these are actually, there is nothing about aircrafts mentioned. These are chariots of Ashwins. Now what are the chariots of Ashwins? Again we will look one more Rigvedic stance. That is the Rig Veda. Mandala 1, hymn number 117. Earlier we read 116. So Swami Dayananda Saraswati says, O leader of justice, O president of the assembly and commander of the army, please come to our abode with a car which has been well manufactured, which is swifter than the mind of a man, drawn by electric forces or horses. Oh, so Vedas used to mention about electric forces and all. Now let us read Ralph T.H. Griffith's translation about the same thing. Your chariots, O Ashwins, swifter than the mind, driven by good horses. So this is again horses driving flying chariots. So this, you can call this as a legend, you can call it as an occultic power, or you can call it as supernatural. Whichever perspective you want to call, you can call it. But this is not science. This is not the mechanical scientific advancement or technology that we are speaking about in Rigveda at all. Again, as I said, you can read it in your own mother tongue, whichever that is. If I read it in Malayalam, again by Dr. Leela Devi, translation, it says, "Oh, hey Ashwinigale, Manovegathodu Kudiya Ashwayuktamaya Ningalude Redam." Ashwayuktamaya Ningalude Redam means chariots driven by horses. So this is not electric power, this is the horses. This is the horses that the Rigveda completely speaks about. Otherwise, is Swami Dayananda going to translate every other horses into electric power? No. Now the problem is, our central government is going to spend much time in discussing this kind of utterly nonsensical theories, which should not be discussed at all. The world has advanced much further. The world has advanced much further that now the world, for example, Airbus has unveiled plans to produce world's first zero-emission commercial planes to run on hydrogen by 2035. The world is speaking about that. World is progressing ahead, and we are looking backward at the Vedas, looking at the chariots driven by horses and thinking that they are aeroplanes. There is nothing for us to study there. So this is the problem that we are. However, you might ask a question now, but this Agnivir has mentioned that this was validated by the Indian Institute of Science scientists, saying that what Swami Dayanand has proposed is feasible. Is that true? Of course not. He hasn't, the Agnivir website hasn't given us the reference, but we know actually which was the paper that discussed about it. In fact, that is related to Vaimānika Shastra of Maharishi Bhadraj. In that context, they are saying H.S. Mukunda, S.M. Deshpande, H.R. Nagendra, A. Prabhu and S.P. Govindaraju, they published a paper titled as A Critical Study of the Work of Vaimānika Shastra. In that, they are referring to Swami Dayananda Saraswati's interpretation. And in this context, they are saying, what they are saying is that Swami Dayananda Saraswati's statements appear to indicate in complete accord with the Newton's law of motion. Or other words, Swami Dayananda Saraswati correctly has given the Newton's law of motion. Now, Swami Dayananda Saraswati in 1880s mentioning about Newton's law of motion is not a miracle. Almost 200 years have passed since Newton's law of motion had been given. So there is nothing miraculous in that. So what the Indian Institute of Scientists are saying is, when Swami Dayananda Saraswati got it right, how come a later book got it wrong? That is their argument. So this he has converted into saying that the Indian Institute of Scientists have said that Swami Dayananda Saraswati's models are feasible. That is nowhere mentioned. Otherwise, let him name the paper. He has never named it. He is speaking a lie. So to cover up one imaginary, fictitious, fanciful interpretation of Swami Dayananda Saraswati, his follower comes up with a lie. That is what it has happened. So we have seen, we have examined Valmiki Ramayana's Pushpaka Vimana, we have examined Swami Dayananda Saraswati's Vedic commentary, at least two of those portions we have examined it. Now let us look a little more interesting one.